Hey everyone, I had a little break from teaching classes, so I wanted to make a quick video about the new normal. You're seeing this around a lot in mainstream news and other places like that, where people are like, you're gonna have to get used to this. You got psychos like Bill Gates and saying like, well, until we have a new vaccine, you're gonna be stuck inside your house forever. And there's like unlimited sources about this. I think this is all funny. To me, it's like, I don't know. Can we stop making Alex Jones correct about everything? I don't think a lot of this is going to go through, but I just found it fascinating to me as somebody that at least understands typology, certain things on how certain types are going to react, certain political spectrums are going to react. I'm only going to speak for Americans as an American because I'm not really kind of an expert on other cultures. I myself personally have lived in 8 states, so I'm pretty well versed on American culture. I don't know New England too well, but I watch Sticks and Hexenhammer, and he kind of covers Vermont a lot, so I kind of have an idea of how they are up there. I've heard people talk about it. I have friends from like Boston and things like that, but I never lived up there myself personally. I just think it's fascinating and very funny that people. I mean, there's going to be people that are saying, yes, this is a new normal, and they're going to be in their closets hiding. These are the typical people who didn't really have a life to lose to begin with. They watched TV, they had a dead-end job, they didn't have much of a life anyways. They probably lived in their own, hometown and travel much, didn't really do much. And so they're going to be kind of okay with it. What I don't think the establishment is getting out of this, and this is just my, any perspective as an ENTP, is when you're talking about SJs and you think of what they value the most is tradition and what the way things were, the status quo. The data is not matching what the fear mongering followed. The numbers keep going down and down and down, and it's really silly at this point. However, and so we're trying to say this is a new normal. What's the new normal right now? Are you saying like right now? Because right now you don't have high school graduations, you don't have elementary school graduations, you don't have college graduations. Okay, these are all basic functions that Americans go through. They're kind of like a rites of passage, to graduate, to be able to sit closely with all your friends and cheer and throw your hats in the air and get your diploma on stage and go, be all excited and stuff. And then you get to have a graduation party where your friends go dancing and stuff like that. So the new normal right now, those things are all closed and you can't dance because they're going to be 6 feet apart. The absurdity to think that people are going to be okay with dancing being gone, concerts being gone, graduations being gone. What are you saying? Weddings are going to be gone too. The whole purpose of coercing and controlling the masses of the United States, and you can see the history of this about implementing, the male soap opera. The male soap opera is organized sports. This is where grown men play child's games and other grown men watch them play child's games. Okay, now I'm not dissing anybody. I used to watch a lot of football. I haven't really watched sports in 2 years, probably. They really lost interest. It's clearly rigged and there's just too much influence and it's just got old, It's just kind of like the same shit over and over again. But most people, I lived in Tennessee, I'm currently in Texas, and these aren't just simple things you can just dismiss and replace easily. Football's a religion. You're talking Tennessee Vols or UT Texas, what is it, Longhorns here. This is a religion in Texas, is football. And so you're trying to tell me that what, kids can't play Pee-wee football no more? So the parents can't watch their kids play soccer or Pee-wee football during the sports. And so when we have Little League happening in the summertime, everyone's going to be okay with baseball just being thrown out the window. You can no longer sit in the audience in the stands and saying this is the new normal. Not going to happen. It's absolutely insane. Now, you can say, hey, in some authoritarian countries where people have no guns and no way to protect themselves, sure, maybe. But America, thank God, has a Second Amendment for what's left of it, and there's plenty of guns out there. You have the state secessions. You already have certain states absolutely rejecting the authoritarian, nature of what New York is. And New York can do what New Yorkers want to do. People who live in New York are okay with that anyways. Otherwise, they would have left a long time ago. I mean, it's a shitty state. Let's face it. It's cold, it's wet, it's crowded. You live in New York City, it's dirty and nasty. Anywhere else in upstate New York, why the hell would you live there? There's so many better places to go. I would rather be poor in a state somewhere in the South or, Midwest even, or even, I wouldn't go to California again, but there's just so many places to go. And if you like cold, wet, and rainy, why would you stay in New York with high taxes? Go to Wyoming. It has better mountains, everything about it, whatever. I'm not going to sit here and bash states. Anyways, people are okay with like Governor Cuomo and his restrictions and all that kind of stuff. And you could argue, well, maybe it's worse up there. Sure, whatever. Yeah, New York seems to be hit more with things that are, linked to vitamin D intake because of sunshine. I mean, New Jersey's all hellish too, and so is Michigan, and so is like Wisconsin, Minnesota, all the cold states, where people don't get enough sunshine, and now they're sitting inside not getting what little they used to get. And so now you have people not able to fight off viruses. Well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense because, vitamin D is kind of important for your immune system. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but yeah. And so the idea of people coming out and saying this is a new normal, it's just absolutely absurd. I mean, Bill Gates, you better have robots walking on the street killing people, or, a real virus coming out and literally killing people everywhere, to say such an idiotic thing. I'm not saying he's not going to try. I'm not saying the establishment doesn't want that. I mean, communist China is the template of what people want. Okay, they want to have a universal credit system where people are monitored and they're graded, and depending on what you say on the internet, what you do on this kind of stuff is going to grade whether or not you can get a job, and people are easily controlled. It's no different than when you have driving. It started off with free flow of travel, back when America was America, but then, you got the DMV, the DOT involved, and now all of a sudden there's all these rules and stuff regulating because affiliatives are the majority. Affiliatives are, SJs and NS, and they are, 70% of the population. And, I'm sorry, 55% of the population, my bad. And, and they're going to want to have regulations. Texas is a very SJ state, believe it or not, which is interesting because they're being all rebellious right now. But you can see it in the roads and the way people drive. They're not cops, but they want to try to control and monitor how people drive, so they'll go slow in the left lane. Tennessee was the same problem. Usually in the conservative red states, that's kind of an issue where they're like, I must do my civil duty to make sure everyone drives safe, and it's kind of like that weird SJ crap. And I was married to an SJ, so I remember, dealing with him, always talking about police officers need to give people more tickets and they need to control these guys. They're doing this kind of stuff. I know how SJs think, then you have like the new Karens and things like that. And that's fine. And, and NTPs aren't much, we're not free from this. We're pretty self-righteous and, about justice too in this kind of situation. But no, when it comes to controlling people's travel, controlling what people say and things like this, no, this is not going to be the new normal. I hate to bust your bubble. And if you want a revolution and a civil war and like certain states obviously going to secede, sure, go ahead and try to enforce this much longer because it's not going to stick. No one in their right mind. Yeah, granted, there's a huge majority of people who are crazy, who think that hiding in your room, not doing anything is a good idea. This has really exposed me to how people out of touch people are about how things work. People that don't understand how retail work, how, chains of services and how things get shipped from farmers to people and all these different things. I've stocked shelves. I've worked, blue collar jobs my entire life. And so I understand how these things all function. And it's clear, a lot of people that went straight out of high school were coddled and then went to college and then they got some kind of like white collar job. They have no idea how anything works. And it is kind of interesting to me. But no, I don't think this is going to be the new normal. And hopefully, they stop spouting this nonsense.